Hello, and welcome to today's web seminar, Key Digital Software Quality Initiatives that Lead to Digital Transformation, sponsored by QMetry, and featuring Deepak and Punit. I'm Rochelle Sawal, and I will be moderating questions at the end of the session. Before the presentation begins, let me explain this console. The panel on the right has a feature to chat, ask questions, or download the slides and handouts for today. If you minimize this panel, just click on the chat button to reopen it. You may also enlarge the slides by clicking on the top right-hand corner of the slide screen and clicking on Full. If you experience any technical issues, please let me know by typing in the question and answers panel, and I'll be happy to assist you. There will also be a Q&A session at the end, but feel free to enter in your questions throughout the presentation. Finally, to optimize your bandwidth for the best viewing experience, please close out any other applications you have running in the background. This event is being recorded and will be made available to watch on demand. Once the recording is ready, you'll get an email with instructions about how to access the presentation. And with that, I'd like to introduce Punit and Deepak.
Thanks, Rachel. Thanks for a quick introduction. Uh, Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Our dear audiences from joining. From wherever you are joining. Thank you for your time today. And I think let me quickly introduce myself. I'm part of QMetry. Uh, I've been into the software quality domain for last 7-8 years now, and I've been associated uh, with marketing of Qmetry for a fairly long time now. So and Punit, let me introduce Punit to you all, and then I will give a little bit idea on the agenda of today. So Punit comes with a strong background in technical support, and he right now is a product owner for one of our key products in Qmetry. And he brings in a long experience, a very of working with various Qmetry customers, in terms of dealing with their digital transformation journeys and successfully delivering continuous testing solutions for them. So Punit, thank you for joining. And before I jump into the topic, let's hear it from you. Your introduction.
Thank you, Deepak. I think you gave a very fair introduction for me. And welcome everybody to this webinar. I am very excited to be part of it, and with the hope that the discussions we'll have will add some value for you. Over to you, Deepak.
Thanks, Punit. So the the discussion today is the key digital quality initiatives, software quality initiatives that is needed for digital transformation. We have seen in the recent times, and let me move to a slide which kind of highlight where we are in digital transformation journeys across organizations. So last 2 years have been very different for all of us. There has been a rapid pace digital transformation that took place, and the demands for digital channels have increased ever since. uh, our customers at Qmetry have also gone through this rapid transformation, and it has been by default that they had to go through this digital transformation. Some of them had a plan for a roadmap of 5 years to 7 years of digital transformation, but they had to kind of achieve some of them in less than 2 years. And it has been a great challenge for all of them. Uh, if you see this chart over here on your screen, 73% of the banking digital customers, banking customers have asked for digital business channels, and banks had to deal with them at the strongest pace, and look at it from a perspective that the compliance and other things that the bank had to deal with. So considering this, Puneet, what has been your experience with our customers, in terms of their experiences with their digital transformation journey, specifically in last 2 years?
Okay. So, Deepak, as you rightly said, digital transformation will undoubtedly play a center stage role. Companies will need to ensure that their digital channels are at par or better than the competition. And that is where they want to succeed in the new environment. In my perspective, there are multiple areas of business operations that will be impacted. Now, let's start first with the customers. Businesses must understand how the needs and behaviors of their most important customers have changed during this time, and they have to refocus their digital efforts towards changing customer expectations. Now, how do modern organizations do it? Right? How do they study their customer expectations? So these modern organizations or businesses have several forecasting and planning models to guide operational decisions, right? Now, organizations will have to validate these models because these old models might not fit to the current timelines, right? So there is a need for new data sets along with a combination of artificial intelligence and machine learning to improve these business operations. So we talked about customers, we talked about different planning models that businesses are using. Along with that, modernizing the technology stack and the software development tooling is really needed to boost the development velocity today.
Mhm.
In my perspective, there are two features of the modern technology and the environment that are really important because these can be very fastly implemented. The first one is a cloud based data platform, so you must go SaaS. And the another is an automated software delivery pipeline, which we commonly call as continuous integration, delivery, and testing. Believe me, kind of modernizing the technology stack is just not enough. And let me give you an example that happened with me personally. I am from India, and during this COVID times, while there were lockdowns, right? So, like we started working from home, schools came up with two different models. One model was for teachers, where that was teach from home, and the other model was for kids and the children's. It was kind of study from home. Now, what happened is, in an haphazard of lockdown, immediately schools bought the web meeting tools, right? And they give it to all the teachers and the students to join online classes. For in my experience, the first week was just a fun while I was being in the classes for my kids. It was like the teachers were not trained how to use these online meeting sessions. Neither the kids or the parents were aware about it. Nobody knew how to mute themselves. Nobody knew how to switch off their camera. Everybody was showing anything and everybody was saying anything. It was a complete fish market. It's not a funny thing, but we need to understand from this experience that just adopting to the tools is just not enough.
True.
If if we talk about our businesses, it is very important to increase organization agility to deliver more quickly. In during these times, we have seen that companies that have led the way have fully adopted the organization agile models, and those who have adopted these models have shown substantial improvement both in terms of execution pace and productivity.
Mhm.
Therefore, upskilling organizations for accelerated digital world to deliver more quicker is even more important than kind of modernizing the technology stack.
Interesting. Very good perspective, Puneet. And I think I loved your example. And I think all across the world, I think people have gone through that. That was another part of digital transformation that all went through, throughout their family. And I think, there were a lot of funny moments that took place. I remember the one where, there was this hearing going on, a legal hearing going on, and one of the participant was in the cat's costume, or a filter. I think and that became a meme all across. So I think, yeah, a lot of those things. Let's switch the gear, and let's talk about, because I think, at QMetry we have enabled multiple customers to move into, with their digital transformation challenges, and we have seen plenty of challenges there, right? uh, I wanted, your view and your insight in terms of some of these challenges that our customers have faced, during, specifically during this last 2 years, and some of the challenges that they are facing now in terms of delivering high quality, software at a speed, right? So, over to you, Punit.
Right. So, kind of based on my experience, Agile is an excellent way to deliver software faster with high quality. And if testing teams understand the unique challenges that are faced and they take steps to overcome it, it would be wonderful. So,
Mhm.
in my view, these are the top three challenges that generally a QA teams face. The first one is inadequate test coverage. With continuous integration and changing requirements, there is high probability of missing critical test cases or scenarios for any requirement.
Mhm.
So this can be mitigated or overcome by linking test cases to user stories for better insights into test coverage, to get end-to-end traceability and missing test coverage if there is any. But it does not only is testing's responsibility. Another cause of missing test coverage is due to code that was being changed by the development team and was not anticipated or really communicated it to the QA teams. To mitigate that, source code analysis is really needed to identify areas that were changed and to ensure that the modified code is thoroughly tested. See, Deepak, Agile, we all know that Agile delivers incrementally, right? And if you want to track a progress, if you want to track progress of a release, you want to look at across different cycles or different sprints.
True.
It is more kind of, we could say, see as you go nature. However, in the long term, it makes measuring progress really difficult.
Mhm.
Therefore, appropriate matrices are needed by every organization that fits to their custom testing processes, and that's where tools like QMetry come into picture. That helps the end users.
Mhm. So, one question that comes to mind is this requirement for speed has made quality an afterthought, or what do you think about it? Because we have seen mishaps also happening. You remember a case with Zoom, the video conferencing tool. In one of their releases, there was some, just in the beginning period of the COVID-19, hitting us,
Mhm.
there were some mishaps that happened. And again, it was because of the speed, requirement, right? To reduce the time to market. Uh,
Mhm.
what is our experience, with our customers with Qmetry? Is it an afterthought, or there is more to it?
Of course, that's not an afterthought. So, see, based on my observation, in most organizations, testers get the least amount of time to do quality assurance, and eventually, the quality of the product suffers.
Hmm.
See, the development team gets sufficient time. They do R&D, they do POC, then they develop it, then they review it, and then a lot of things. They have a lot of bandwidth, right? And then finally, things when you are moving closer to the release, the testers get a pressure of delivering faster.
Hmm.
Now we have seen that organizations that struggle with DevOps often focus their efforts on automating deployment, and they overlook the needs of a QA. That's where, continuing to my thought from the previous point, it is very important for teams to be ready for continuous testing. Providing continuous feedback is very vital for agile success. I hope Deepak, you will agree to it that feedback plays a very important role, and
Absolutely.
you need it on time, right?
Hmm.
What happens is developers frequently and continuously add or update features to the product. Now, since code is changed and compiled daily, the likelihood of new code breaking an existing feature is much higher. To address this, testers must run regression test cases against each build. Now, when I say that testers should run a regression build against each build, as a product manager, if my QA manager comes and tell me tomorrow that I want to do a manual regression for all my builds and that would delay the release for 3 weeks, I am going to get a heart attack, right?
Absolutely.
Right? Since since either it is you or me, most of us are resource constrained today, right? And
Mm.
achieving this through manual regression testing is impractical, altogether impractical, specifically in this fast paced agile environment. So organizations must rely on automation testing to, and they should be ready for continuous testing. Another point is it is also required to enhance and acquire technical knowledge along with this pace. Agile expects testers to have rich technical knowledge. Of course, manual testing has its applications, but automation comes into picture for delivering quick feedback and recommendations. So the role of manual testers is more important now. The testers should be able to identify areas that are easy to automate to enhance their regression packs.
Mhm.
So once they identify a scenario, they should put it to a regression pack so they don't have to do a retesting again of it manually. They should also learn how they can trigger different automation tools or different automation scripts from their test management tool itself.
Mhm.
And they should be able to analyze results out of it to figure out what is a false alarm and what is a real bug.
Mhm.
Testers cannot be dependent on a develop DevOps team or really an infra team to trigger these automations today. For organizations like Qmetry, how we have evolved is our manual testers know how to automate the test cases. And if the test cases are really complex, they at least provide a basic structure of the automated code to the automation team so that they can work on this further.
Mhm.
So there are products like Qmetry Automation Studio that really help testers in these transitions, whether it is moving towards continuous testing or whether it is towards shift left where testers have to do automation.
Excellent answer, Puneet. I think you covered some very you know key challenges that our customers are facing, and I think you know when we talk about continuous testing as one solution, I think there's a lot of things that plays the role in terms of giving a holistic solution. And I think let's really talk about it. Before we go into it, let's understand from our audiences what are their challenges. A poll is coming up, guys. Please respond to it in next 30 seconds, Rachel. That's what the time that we give.
Yes, I've actually just sent out the poll.
Mhm.
I see it.
Any guess, Deepak, what would be the answer? Which
Yeah,
would
the
be
answer looks like taste coverage and integrations. I think and that covers two interesting parts. One is as you rightly mentioned, if you do not have a adequate taste coverage, you might be releasing it fast, but without quality. And the second is the scalability, and that it kind of addresses the tool fragmentation as well. In terms of integrations, because I think that's a major challenge a lot of our folks face in quality domain. So I think we will cover that in our upcoming discussion. So let's move ahead. Um
yes.
Cool. So I think while we talked about the challenges, right, and you also highlighted the I'm going to skip this slide because we you also kind of highlighted the role of continuous testing in digital transformation. I wanted to to really focus on three different aspects of or let me put it in a little different way. Let's talk about the solutions, right? And again, each customer has a unique need, or unique challenge, and we have delivered a solution differently to each customer based off their needs, right? But
Right.
I think there should be some common factors that come in discussion for each and every one of our customers. uh, can you give us more insights on that, Puneet? What are the common challenges that have come and solutions that we have offered to our customers?
Okay. I get your question. See, like I previously said, that only upgrading the technology or the tool set is just not enough, right? We need to get more deeper to understand it from holistic view. What is happening, and which are the problem areas? Again, that these problem areas are a combination of people, processes, and tools together. Now let's talk about people first. Today, large multinational corporations are dealing with legacy, and they face resistance to change. So while we know that, while adopting a modern technology or tool, there are migration challenges. Therefore, there is hesitation from the employees, as there is a learning curve involved, and also there is a belief that could slow down their current productivity.
Hmm.
Now, for one of our customers, that is a multinational bank in Europe, they had to deal with a very similar situation and very similar mindset of people, uh, and they were resistant to change. Now, in such cases, what organizations do is they drive it from the higher management side, and they really, get get into the details and educate their organization why a particular DevOps change or why a particular continuous integration or continuous testing change is important. uh, they talk about advantages for their about these changes to their in their organizations. And also, it is very important to have a willingness to actually change the way that you are working now and adopt a new change. Like, there is a very famous quote from Gandhiji, related to people, that they ignore you, then they will laugh at you, then they fight with you, and finally you win. So that's how the change has been mentioned by Mahatma Gandhi. So let's talk about processes now. Every organization wants to follow industry best practices. They might have to tweak some of these processes as per their custom needs. However, introducing test management tools really standardize these processes.
Hmm.
And let me give you an example of a multinational hardware company, that is into business from 50 years, and they are manufacturing laptops and servers, right? So with their experience of 50 years working with multiple vendors, multiple tools and project, they came up with a template which they believe that whenever they want to create a new project, they will use that template.
Hmm.
Now they are using test case management tools, and what they do is, whenever they create a new project, in just one single click, they get a template of a new project that has all the roles defined, that has all the customizations done, grouping of fields done, platformization, everything is just done in a single click. And that's where, templatization helps in bringing processes standard across multiple teams and multiple projects. Along with processes, tools play a very important role. I'm sure, Deepak, you are fond of some kind of music, right? Just like in this industry, Different instruments, when played together, they form an orchestrated music and they can create a symphony. Similarly, agile teams are using multiple tools to accomplish their goals. The teams are looking for one tool solution that has inbuilt integration with all these tools, or at least should have APIs to achieve these kind of integrations. So if you focus on people, process, and tools together, that would make it easier for you to solve this problem.
Excellent. So, you talked about people, process, and tools, and I think you gave some really good example in terms of mindset change that needs to happen. You need a certain processes to really achieve the digital transformation, specifically while shifting from one kind of mindset, legacy mindset, to more modern, agile, DevOps driven mindset, right? So
Right.
and I think these are some of the standard problems, or challenges that any organization has faced, and I think we have seen, you mentioned one customer. I think we have seen it with multiple of our customers facing these challenges, right? Now, I always believe that people and processes has some intangible approach. Intangibility to it. While they play a very important role, I think collaboration and actual execution, enabling actual execution, requires tools. And tools really provide the structure and execution framework to the entire digital transformation process from a quality perspective. I think we are, and if you take the entire SDLC as well, I think it still does the same thing. And you really gave a very beautiful example of orchestration of a symphony, right? And I feel that there are these three important parameters: people, processes, and tools, where tools is bridging the huge gap. That's what my understanding is on tools. But I think you've dealt with multiple customers day in day out, and helped them with tools, right? So,
Right.
what is your understanding, or what is your take on the role of the tools? And do you think tools are most important factor in this entire mix?
Of course, yes. I mean, both of us will agree that tools make everybody's job easy, right? There are multiple benefits of having a test case management tool.
Hmm.
First of all, it acts as a central repository where all teams can create and save test cases, test plans, do their executions, export reports, manage their requirements, bugs. Project managers can manage their milestones, releases, sprints. Everything is in one place, right? Not only that, tools provide you end-to-end view to improve test coverage and see the traceability among different assets. One of the very important parameter that tools bring in place is it improves collaboration.
Hmm.
Tools help to bring everybody on board, whether it is manual tester, automation tester, scrum master, developers, everybody are on the same page. Not only that, your stakeholders get to see real time reports, and every stakeholder is just looking at one report. Reports act as a single source of truth when you are using tools.
Hmm.
Now, gone are the days where QA manager or a project manager was scheduling a report and sending it to the stakeholders. We do not live in that world now. People have live links. They just go and click the link. They see a live report, and they get to know what is the current progress. The third parameter is easy communication. When I say it's about easy communication, tools allow you to define ownership for in multiple different stages of the workflow,
Hmm.
allows you for easy assignments of test cases during executions, no need of emails, no need of chats, auto email notifications are sent. You can check the progress without a meeting. Just go and open the report. You want to see a daily progress, weekly progress, monthly progress. You can just easily see the reports. And in case if you want to comment on one of the features or a test case, you can easily provide comment and notify others. One of my really favorite parameter that I look in the tools is tools help to minimize duplication and enhance reusability.
Hmm.
For example, if a test case is present in one of the projects, I can easily reuse that test case into my project. I can refer the test case directly, or I can create a copy of it. If I talk about an automation tool, when I record a test case for a web, I should be able to execute it on mobile, whether it is iOS or Android. So that's where reusability comes into play.
And I'm sure, I think, from a reusability perspective, uh, when we are talking about the time crunch at which with which the team has to deal with, I think, reusability can really add a lot of efficiency to the entire process, and reduce the time to market, or help in reducing the time to market, right?
Absolutely right.
Hmm.
So the fifth point is kind of regulatory compliances, whether you are from a regulatory industry or not. But people do ask who created this test case, kind of who approved this test case when it fails, right? When was the execution done? In which build you did it? Uh, do they cover all these requirements? So all of these questions can be self-answered when you are using a tool. The tools automatically record it.
Right. I mean, I can add to that. I mean, our customers from life sciences and medical devices companies, they do have a CFR Part 11 requirement, which for them, from a compliance driven perspective, I think is very important. And Do you want to, add something? Because I think we have a couple of really good examples there, where we have helped customers with those compliance issues as well.
Right. Specifically, when we have customers in banking or pharma industry, they have really regulatory compliances, and they specifically look for approval workflows. Right. If they are creating a test case, they would want to sign that test case and say that this is approved for execution now. When executions happen, some expert will come and sign off that execution for you, so that the
Hmm.
gets released to the market. So kind of regulatory compliance is a need, and tools should have it.
Hmm.
Not only that, you should have a very smart the tools have a very smart integration with other different tools, right? The integration should be inbuilt, that helps you to define workflows and transfer of information between multiple tools.
Hmm.
So that these are few of the benefits that I see.
Excellent, Puneet. I think, there's definitely a huge role that, yeah, tools play. So here's a quick survey again, Rachel, if you can please share the survey. This is, which are the most important criteria for your team to select a tool. Again, we will cover from our own experiences, Puneet, with specifically Puneet's experience in terms of our customers, how they have selected their tools. And I think, I feel that might be useful for our audiences.
Right. I think I will pick all the options. Everything is important.
That's true. That's absolutely true.
That's partiality, kind of. You are just giving one option for all to select.
Yeah, but I think, what I'm looking at, the and I think, our audiences are still answering the poll. But what I'm looking at is, integration is coming out as one of the key requirements or key criteria for them. And I can understand. Again, it boils down to the tool fragmentation that's there in each of the organizations that we have worked with. So yeah.
Right.
Okay, let's move ahead, Punit. So yeah, we already kind of covered uh, the the poll question, which was to identify the criteria that our users, our audiences, are kind of looking at before selecting a tool. But according to you, from your experience of working with various QMetry customers, what do you think? Where is, what criteria they should go for? What I mean, let's not talk in terms of best practices, but in all practicality, what should they look at?
Okay. Uh, I can answer it this question for 4 to 5 hours without getting stopped. Uh, So, believe me, this is what I suggest the organizations. I tell them to identify top 20, 25 features that 80% of their testers need to accomplish their daily tasks, and evaluate tools based on these features, and at least shortlist 4 or 5 tools before based on these features. Believe me, it is impractical to find a tool that would cater to all the needs of all the testers. I will I will suggest one of while kind of finalizing a tool, you should at least take some time to evaluate the following items that I'm going to say now. One of the very important parameter that you should look for is one tool approach. Again, I would say it is one tool approach. It doesn't mean that the tool that you are going to procure should have features of all the tools that you are using in the team. That doesn't mean that. It means that the tools that you are selecting should have a very, very strong integration, inbuilt integration with different tools that you are using in your agile day-to-day operations.
Mhm.
Believe me, testers do not like jumping tools uh, during their daily work, right? While they are performing their daily operations, they do not like to switch to multiple tools to perform different tasks. If you have a one tool approach, this enhances the adoption of the tool, keep them focused, and even helps you to better utilization of the tool features.
Mhm.
Now, let me give you an example how what I'm saying is, when a tester is authoring a test case, for reference, they want to see a user story. Now, understand how difficult it becomes for a tester to see the user story in Jira and write a test case in QMetry. There are two tools, right? How he will keep focus onto his work. What tools do is, in this case, all the Jira stories automatically gets synced to QMetry. Testers go and open the story. They have story inside QMetry. They start authoring test cases, and these test cases are automatically getting linked to the user story to provide adequate test coverage.
Mhm.
A tool should enable combination of people, processes, and multiple tools together. As a tester, I should be able to map manual as well as automation test cases. I should be able to author BDDs, push them into source control repositories. I should be able to trigger scripts from within the tool, view the execution results out of my automation framework within my tool, and get a combined report for my stakeholders to see the release progress. The tool should enable a very strong collaboration between developers, business experts, and QA to provide a very tighter integration between requirement gathering tools and bug tracking tools like Jira. Uh, the second important criteria is excellent reporting features. Now, reports are sole source of truth for all the stakeholders. The tool must provide reports as per the industry best practices. It could be a traceability report, coverage report, top issue report, or a weekly progress report. At the same time, the tool should have highly customizable reports, and which are developed based on the customizations done by the organizations at the different projects.
So
Not
Puneet,
only,
I'm sorry,
yeah,
I just had one question here. So does a repository of report or some standard report available within the tool help, or customization is the key?
customization really play a very important role, because everybody does not exactly follow the best practices. So tools have report that are built over test practices, but projects do customize them, their needs, right? So their customization plays a very important role. So the custom report feature is very important because it helps the business users as well as the high tech users to generate reports, create gadgets, and the gadgets can be reused into multiple projects,
Hmm.
right? The tools can be integrated with other BI. The reports should be able to integrate with other BI tools or should be displayed over Confluence. So all of these features for reporting is very important. The third major thing that Deepak you pointed out was kind of reusability, and which I believe is one of the very important aspects. The reusability can be into multiple areas. Let's say if you are authoring a test case reusability is important. Like I
Hmm.
said, if you have a test case is one of the projects, you should be able to share or reuse the same test case across multiple projects instead of creating it again. Not only the whole test case, I am also talking about common steps. So if you have common steps, you should be able to share those common steps across multiple test cases in the same project or multiple projects. AI capabilities play a very important role in reusability. The
Hmm.
tool must provide intelligence to the testers about existing similar test case or duplicate test case if they are authoring a new one, right? That's where AI comes into picture. We talked about project templatization. Enterprise organizations usually templatize their project structure. Hence, it is important that tools allow to clone structure, reuse fields. This really saves a lot of administrative efforts to maintain the project level changes.
True.
Right? If you're talking about an automation tool, right? It should allow you to support multiple platforms, whether it is web, mobile, web services, whether you are testing database, automating database, whether you want to test a desktop application tool, the automation tool, single automation tool should allow you to do that. Not only that, automation tools should support multiple frameworks and give you results into multiple formats that can be consumed by your test case management tools.
Right. And also self-healing for that matter, or some of these key features, which would help in terms of reducing the time to market, right?
Absolutely right.
Right. So I think
Definitely right.
Puneet, you covered a lot of technology of the tool, the requirements from the perspective of technology of the tool. uh, what about, do you think, besides the technology, there are any other points that one has to keep in mind while selecting the tool?
Of course, yes. I mean, you should look out for a tool that has an excellent technical product support team. Now, see, there will be times when users will need assistance or handholding on tool features or enabling or configuring integration with different tools, right? Or even setting up the tools. Administrators might plan everything during onboarding, right? But there are still unknowns that might have left unplanned. During these crucial times when end users are looking for help, you reach out to product support, and the product support should be technically strong enough and should be faster enough to provide you accurate solutions. So it is very important that you select a tool that has an excellent product support team. Just look out for the reviews.
Perfect. I think that's a very good answer. I mean, enabling people remains a major challenge, for everyone. So let's talk, one last question. Excellent discussion, Puneet. I think you've given us a very good insight. Now, I've heard, a lot of these things that you see on your screen, in terms of AI and ML playing a role in now and in future, from in the tool ecosystem, specifically quality tool ecosystem. What is your perspective? What is the future looking like? And let's take in a horizon of next 2 years or 5 years, at the most. What is the future? What are the features, or what are the key aspects of software quality will get the benefit of tools, for benefit of AI or ML?
Okay. See, Deepak, the future is very dynamic, right? And I will just talk about a near future. What is going to happen in near future? Uh, See, along with the adoption of DevOps, businesses today are focusing on embracing AI and ML to maximize the efficiencies of test management tools. This facilitates better decision making and accurate precision. Also, this reduces time to market. Based on historical data and combination of other intelligence, in the near future, AI will predict the success or failure of a test release, will highlight if the test coverage is adequate, and few of these features are already part of QMetry. These are already implemented into QMetry. I would just give an example. QMetry has a Qme- quality bot, right, which is based on AI and NLP. Now, when, let's say, we found it out that adequate test coverage is very important for everyone. Now, let's say when a tester is trying to link test cases to requirements, the quality bot, which is based on AI, will automatically suggest list of all the test cases which Qmetry believes you should link to this requirement for adequate test coverage.
Hmm.
It could be based on experience with multiple releases or sprints where the test cases might have been executed multiple times, or they might have failed very frequently in the last releases, right?
Hmm.
Uh, Not only that, if we talk about automation, right? Let's say today I am automating a web page, and with releases, the web page might get changed. Buttons will change here and there. Now, features like self-healing will automatically identify the change on the test on the web page, and they will automatically make changes to the test scripts. Automation testers will not have to go and manually kind of code and make the changes to their scripts. So this really helps. Another
Hmm.
part is scalability. The tools should be very scalable.
Right.
uh, Teams are looking for inbuilt integration with multiple tools, whether it is CI/CD tools for triggering builds, whether it is source control systems, automation tools and framework, integration with bug tools, requirement trackers, reporting or BI tools, SSO. If tools do not have inbuilt integrations, you never know, any new tool is going to come into market. At least there should be APIs that would enable developers to build a wrapper for integration. So you
Right.
should that this is the future. Uh, Also, adoption of tools that have digital quality platform. It could be like Qmetry or Subject 7 that allows you to do end-to-end testing. That gives you kind of predictive analysis, and also prescribe you the analysis based on AI. So this is very important that I believe it would be in the near future.
Right. So I wanted to, I mean, thanks, Puneet. This is very good conversation. Before we end the session, I just wanted to give our audiences an idea in terms of, Qmetry's tool ecosystem. Qmetry is, as you rightly mentioned, it's an AI-enabled digital quality platform. And we focus on few key aspects of digital quality. So one is test management, which is the core of is the orchestration part of digital quality platform. We have test automation, which is basically and which deals with automating your test scripts and providing self-filling in there, and codeless or low code automation and things like that. So we have covered that through our test automation. And as you rightly mentioned, analytics is a key part in terms of building the right test coverage, finding the in-depth analysis of where things are failing, and finding the right solutions. So I think that's where our Qmetry analytics also comes in place. And scalability also came as one of the key, I mean, integration or scalability came as one of the key challenges for many of our audiences. And I feel that we cover that through our integration layer, where we do have integrations with other automation tools, device clouds, and code repositories, as you mentioned, and project management tools like Jira, as well, and CI/CD tools like Jenkins and Bamboo. So I think that's with that, I think, thank you, Puneet, so much for your wonderful, insightful session today. Rachel, over to you for Q&A.
Yep, sure thing. So it looks like we had a handful of questions that came in. Feel
Mhm.
free to post your questions under the Q&A tab, and we'll go through as many as we can with the time permitted. We did have a question from Kagan. You prescribe source code analysis in our quality processes, but most QA analysis don't have that skill set to evaluate code. How do you rectify this?
Right. So, it's again kind of a process change that is really needed. Uh, Ideally, you should have a team of experts. Whenever a developer is making that change, you should have SMEs or the leads and the architect reviewing that code specifically, along with an expert in QMetry. So when a code is changed, it is also very important to discuss it with one of the subject matter experts in your organization who can actually figure out what kind of impact analysis would be required when you are going to make a change in this specific code. There are also available tools in the market that would really help for source code analysis. You will get to know whether a specific piece of code has been really changed and whether it was reviewed or not. So that's what I believe is the answer to this question.
Very good. Carrie asks, how do we plan adequate test coverage and how can Qmetry help?
Okay. Uh, See, with continuous integration and changing requirements, there is high probability of missing critical test cases or scenarios for any requirements. Now, this can be mitigated by linking test cases to user stories for better insights into test coverage. And teams should look for end-to-end traceability reports and kind of coverage reports to figure out whether the coverage is sufficient. Like I gave an example that Qmetry has a bot that's part of the test management tool itself. While a tester is referring to a user story in Qmetry, the bot uses AI and NLP algorithms to recommend test cases that should be linked to the story. So that's how an adequate test coverage can be achieved.
And we had a question from Jess. What is the definition of a scalable test management platform?
Okay. Uh, Agile teams are using multiple tools to achieve their daily operations. A scalable test management tool should have inbuilt integrations with all these tools to perform specific actions, or at least should expose APIs to enable developers to build integration on top of it. An automation tool should be able to automate web, mobile, web services, desktop applications, should be able to support multiple frameworks and produce results in multiple formats. That's what a definition of scalability is.
Very good. And Lane had a question. What does it take to change user mindset from traditional approaches to more agile DevOps centric approaches? And do you have any examples that you can share?
Oh, that is an excellent question. Yeah, really. And if we have time, I would just go into depth of this question. See, I believe the change must be driven by higher management, by setting a real time example that others can follow. It is very important to break the silos, and everyone's involvement is very important. While you're making a change, your entire organization needs to clearly understand of what DevOps means or what continuous testing means, what specific business needs it can address. More importantly, everyone needs to should be willing to change the way things have been already done. So there should be a willingness. I will just give you an example of how we adopted this change in Qmetry. So we started with one of the products and we understood the value stream of the product. When I say value stream, these are the series of activities which are necessary to move the product from development all to the way to production. So this helped us figure out constraints, bottlenecks, wait queues in the delivery process, and identified areas we must concentrate on improving. See, kind of while it is impossible to automate all your testing in DevOps, it is very critical to automate all test runs as part of your continuous integration process, as well as your regression testing, or you can call it as a smoke testing. which is performed on multiple platforms, on multiple environments within your delivery process. Automating at least some functional testing or non-functional test cases, kind of security test cases, performance, or other quality characteristics should be achieved to speed up these activities. So that's what I wanted to say.
Thank you, Puneet. Looks like we're nearing the top of the hour. Those were a great set of questions. Thanks to our attendees for participating. On behalf of TechWell, I'd like to thank Puneet and Deepak for their time and insights on digital transformation and our sponsor, QMetry. A special thank you also goes out to our audience for joining us, and we hope you have a great rest of the day. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you very
Thank you
much.
so
Thank
much.
you, everyone.
Thanks, Punit. Thanks, Rachel. It was wonderful. And thank you all audiences, for joining us today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.